It is executive presence. And no man or woman can attain a top job, land an extraordinary deal, or build a significant following without a heady combination of poise, confidence, and authenticity that convinces all of us in the room that this person is the real deal. Sylvia and Hewlett. Executive presence is everything. It's the way you show up. It's the way that you communicate who you are. So how do you build executive presence? How do you communicate to the world that you are the real deal and that people should take you seriously without coming off as too confident or too cocky or too obnoxious? And it's that beautiful balance that we'll be talking about in this week's episode of MasterTalk. Hi everyone, Brendan here for MasterTalk on your go-to channel to mastering your talk. And today we're talking executive presence and how to build that presence in your life. So let's get into it. Number one, executive presence stems from one's belief in their own point of view about the world. There's a lot of coaches out there who tell you to wake up at 5 a.m., who tell you to never give up, who tell you to drink a green juice. And all that stuff's great, but it's very vanilla. Like, who are you? What are your points of view about the world? What are some unique things that you care about that we should all know about? So I think executive presence and being controversial are in many ways interlinked, in the sense that if you don't actually stand for anything, if you don't believe in something, most people won't follow you or think you are the real deal. And I'll give you the best example of this. Mark Zuckerberg, the guy who founded Facebook. Let's put this into context. He was a 20-year-old kid when he started this. He believed in a social network, but he believed in it so strongly that he connected the world that he got people like Sheryl Sandberg, who's the CEO of his company, who's double his age. CFO of Facebook, who's like in his 50s. And all these executives are way older and more experienced than Mark. They follow Mark's lead, even if he's half their age, because he has executive presence. That doesn't mean he shows up in a suit all the time. I don't think that's what it is. But rather, he has a unique point of view on how the world should be, and the people around him believe in that unique point of view. So what does that mean for you? It means you got to drop the green juice, okay? It means you got to start thinking about more important questions, even if green juice is important for your day-to-day health, but rather saying, okay, what do I believe in? Who do I want to be known for? Who do I want to stand for? And what do I want to stand for in this world? And it's through that belief that you're able to get people to gravitate around you, to say this guy or gal is the real deal. So in the same way, I believe that communication tools can be democratized so that every single man, woman, child, or I guess sounds more presidential now, but like anyone can master communication, so can you. What is that key message for you? What do you want to stand for? And once you figure that out, building executive presence on top of that will be easy as pie. Number two, with a strong value system, figure out the change you want to make and who you want to make it for. I started working in the corporate world when I was 22. And I think the reason why executives took me seriously is because I wasn't afraid to share my ideas if I felt those ideas benefited the business. But if I didn't believe strongly enough in those ideas, in the way and how it can contribute to this company and to this organization, I wouldn't have the knowledge, or rather the confidence, to communicate those ideas with people. That's why I encourage all of you to build that value system and to build those ideas, because the more that you share them, the more that you contribute your insight, your knowledge, the more you're not afraid to say, hey, I actually think this because of that. That's how you build real reputation and rapport. And of course, in my case, I wasn't perfect the first time. I made a lot of mistakes. I was like, oh, sometimes it's too loud, sometimes it was too aggressive. But then over time, I was able to converse better. I was able to build relationships with the people around me. I was able to speak my truth in the same way I want all of you to speak yours. So now that you have your belief system in place, communicate those ideas to the people around you so you can test them out And over time, it'll be much easier when people look at you and go, wow, this person's great. Because trust me, a great outfit, good looks. I'm not saying I'm good looking or anything, but all those things can contribute. But the people who are really smart, the people who know what they're talking about, they're looking for substance and confidence. So if you can deliver both of those things, building executive presence from a strong foundation will become a lot easier. Number 3, understand that there's a mirroring aspect to how you communicate your ideas with the world and showcase them. So now you got your ideas. Everything's great. So now the last question is, how do you communicate them in a way that doesn't offend people? Where people don't go, well, who's this guy or gal? Because you could have the best ideas in the world, but if you don't communicate them in a way where people go, wow, this is amazing, you won't be able to make those ideas heard. That's why it's so important when you think about the ideas you want to share with the world, that you sit back and say, how am I showing up when I communicate this? That's why whenever I record a YouTube video, I'm always watching it back myself to see how I'm coming off. And I make the adjustments that I need to for the next one over time as I get better at communicating that. That's why feedback is also essential. Another thing I do is I also send the videos out to 15, 20 people I really trust. And I go, how am I sounding right now? Do I come off as too aggressive, as too crazy? Probably crazy. And it's through that feedback that I'm able to readjust the way that I communicate my thoughts. And remember, this piece is the most important one. You could have a strong value system. You could communicate your beliefs in a way that's amazing. But if people don't mirror back to you and go, I like this idea, but rather go, no, out of my office, then it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to mirror appropriately where you get a reaction like this. Okay, that makes sense. So watching how other people interpret the information you have to share is just as important as the message that you're sharing itself. That's why when I'm communicating the topic of public speaking to a 50-year-old executive, it sounds something like this. Good afternoon, Miss Lucy. It's such a pleasure to be here today. We're going to be looking at how do we refine this versus a 6-year-old girl, which is like, hey, Lucy, how's it going? I think if you share your beautiful smile with the world, you'll be incredible. That's what executive presence means. It doesn't just mean who you show up as, but how you're communicating to the people that want you to show up for them, right? If I went up to that 6-year-old girl and I started talking in very complex lingo, she'd be like, whoa, I don't understand this person. Versus if I was talking to the 50-year-old and I was talking to that individual like they were 6 years old, it wouldn't come off great either. So understanding how to mirror your ideas to specific audiences is the most important piece of building your executive presence in any organization or really in anything that you do. Remember, at the end of the day, executive presence matters because it shows us who is the real deal. So I encourage all of you to share your ideas with the world, but more so, understand how you're sharing them and who you're sharing them with. And it's through those conversations, through the feedback loops, that you'll truly be able to build a presence that merits the amazing ideas you have for the world. As always, if you enjoyed this week's episode of MasterTalk, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well to see more videos like this. And if you know anybody who's interested in building an amazing executive presence and who aren't very good at communicating their thoughts and ideas, be sure to send them this video so that they'll be one step closer to mastering their ideas. Take care.